All right, in this episode, we're going to talk about painting the model. Almost all the painting is done before you do any assembly, which is great for people that are a little shaky or have big hands, big fingers. You can get a beautiful paint job and then put it together so that you have nice, crisp lines. We're going to start with the windows, and the reason we're going to start with them is this is a technique that I haven't really seen in model train kits, and I wanted to show it because I think I don't want you to this is an important part of this kit. All right, let's dump out our windows. And we have, for this model, 4 regular type windows. We have 2 little transit-like lights that go over the side doors and one that goes over the end doors. Then we have these 2 little things here that kind of look like windows, but they're actually 2 test pieces that I gave you. And this is not only for you to test out the technique before you work on the windows, but to also test your paint. And what I mean by that is I'm going to, in the previous models that you've seen the photos of, I've used this apple barrel and I'm quite happy with it. One of them had the marsh green. Now, I had trouble getting that. This paint's only 54 cents at Walmart. I had trouble finding the marsh green, but now they have an arbor green. To me, they look about the same, so I used one on one model, the other on the other model. But notice these are just the normal water-based acrylic paint. Do not use, they also sell at Walmart, and Apple Barrel has these. One says multi-surface, and the other says indoor-outdoor. You do not want to use, and this is indoor-outdoor down here, but you do not want to use these for this technique. It will screw up your windows. Because what we're going to do is paint the windows, and then we're going to rub it off with a cloth after about 20 minutes. You can wait for 24 hours. I've waited and rubbed it off, or basically wait forever if you want. But you do not want to use these 2, the multi-surface indoor-outdoor, because those they're dishwasher safe. You will not be able to get them off. Now, another thing is the particular model I picked out does not have it, but sometimes you'll see a little blue or something, and these may still have a backing on them, and they may not. Let me see if I can find one. But there may be a little backing on the back of these windows. And therefore, I leave it on until I'm ready to mount the windows, because it doesn't really, it just keeps you from getting paint on the back that you got to rub off. But sometimes there'll be a little, I clean it up, you see how there was a little bit of powder still on there from the laser cut. So I'm going to go through a little. This is just a soft toothbrush. Again, it's something my wife got for me at Walmart. Works fine. Just brush off. It'll make your model much nicer if you brush off any. A lot of times, this one's particularly bad. Normally, the way we make these, it doesn't have much white dust at all, but this one, you can see, did have. So I just want to get that off. Just takes a second. I'm going to take them off here too. Now, I admit these little test things are small, but it'll help you get used to the technique. Put these. And like I said, I want you to test your paint, unless you're using the apple barrel like I am. I want you to test your paint to make sure that you can rub it off using this technique. All right, I don't know whether I did that one. I'm gonna. It'll come off. Maybe you can see a little of the white dust building up on my mat. That one I'll bet still has the plastic on the back. Yep, you can see, I don't know whether you can see on the camera, but you see that little piece of film? You need to check all your things before you mount them and pull that little piece of film off. Like I said, I leave it on for painting. That way, if I get a little energetic and get some off the back, it doesn't really matter because you can just rub it off, but just saves a little time. Okay, we're going to call that good. Maybe. All right. So, that being said, I'm going to get rid of those paints. I'll put them back up on my rack. And I've decided the other ones you've seen are green. I'm going to be a little bold this time. I'm going to do our trim in a barn red. I have no idea what that's going to look like, but I thought, well, I'll try it. Why not? It'll give us a little different look when we get done. I know the green was used, sort of that dark green was used on a lot of stations. I think they used the reds too, obviously with boxcar red and stuff. The trains had a lot of red paint laying around, that's for sure. So I shake it up. I think let me see if I've opened this one before. Oh, yep, I've opened it. All right, we're going to try it. I'm not sure how good this will look, but we'll find out when we get our model together. So I'm going to put a little paint in my, whoop, that's a little more than I wanted, but we'll put that in the tray. Oh, and I need to get my piece of cardboard. We'll use this piece of cardboard. And we'll put our pieces up on our cardboard. We'll just slide them all down here. Whoops. Bear with me a second while I get the pieces on my cardboard. Okay. Well, that piece is giving me a problem. Maybe I'll pull that piece of plastic off the back. There we go. Now it'll lay flat. So let's take a test piece to start with. And I have this is a soft brush, or fairly soft, but it's a pointed brush, unlike my other ones. Because really, I just want to get a little paint, and on my first pass, I just want to get it in that crack there. On these cross cracks. You'll see how these are scribed when you have them in your hand. And I want to be generous with getting the paint in that crack. Yes, I'm getting it all over the window, but that doesn't matter with this technique. That's what's so nice about it. You can get a beautiful line, and you don't have to be so, I can almost paint the whole thing the way I'm painting this test piece. So I'm going to do that. Now you should do it with, unless you're using these apple barrel paints, you should do it with your paint to make sure it'll rub off. As long as they're not the dishwasher safe type, the indoor outdoor type, as long as they're the water-based acrylics, they should wipe off. I'm going to go ahead and show you how I'd paint an actual window. Again, I want to get quite a bit in that crack. I just kind of pat it in. Sometimes on my first pass, this is a multiple pass project as far as these windows. And on my first pass, I don't even paint the outside sometimes because part of that'll rub off when I rub off for the inside glass. But I think I'm going to paint it today. We'll get it up there. Gotta get it started at least. Get my toothpick. And we'll move this around. I may like this color. I'm not sure. We'll find out later. So, I'm doing a terrible job of actually staying in the lines, but that doesn't matter. So, okay. So I painted a test piece, and I painted one of the actual windows. Like I said, this could be a multi-pass process, so I'm going to move that out of the way. You see, you get some paint on the back sometimes because of the paint on the table. I'm going to take one of these little guys, and I'm going to paint him. And again, you want to get plenty of paint in those little joints between the panes. I got plenty there. All right, now we're going to do along the edges here. I'm going to paint this whole thing too. That's basically what you want to do. You got too much paint there. I don't want to. Basically, I just painted everything, but that's fine. That's fine. I do want paint in those cracks. Okay. I'm going to turn off the camera now and finish painting these. I don't want to bore you, so I'll turn off the camera, finish painting these, and then I'll be back with the next stuff. It's been about an hour since I painted these. I would normally only leave them about 20 minutes or until they're dry, but this will be fine. It may take a little more work than if they're not this dry, but that's fine. So what I have is I have a sponge. It's a regular kitchen sponge that I dampened and squeezed so there's very little moisture in that. And I'm going to be using one of these microfiber cloths that I got off Amazon. I think they're about 50 cents a piece. They work fine. They're cheap. And I'm using the short side. I don't know. But all you do is put your finger in there. Just tap. Just dampen a little bit. And you can see how messed up that is, but I'm going to rub it with my slightly dampened cloth. You can see I got some off. This will take a few passes. Maybe a little more moisture. I also, on this one, I noticed pushing it around, I got a lot on the back side, so I'm going to clean the back side because that'll help me determine what's on the front side. There. All right. Spin it around. Just tap my cloth. Whoops. And there. That isn't bad. Okay, I'm going to do this as the sample piece. I'll do it just for the heck of it. Obviously, it works with this paint, or I wouldn't have been using it. But you can see, you just wipe it off. Actually, I can feel it. That still has the plastic on the back. I can start to peel off a little bit. There. All right, this is, it's sticking to me because of that plastic. All right. Now let me do this piece. And we're just trying to get it off the glass part. In fact, we're trying not to get it off the other parts. We want a nice thick coat on the surrounding parts. In fact, I didn't do too much there, but I know when you do this first wipe off, see, I'm starting to wipe off some of the edges. So once I get the lines like I like, then I'll start just painting the edges and trying not to get it on the glass part, so I don't have to really do any wiping, hopefully. I'm going to do one more little pass on that one. So you can kind of see the technique. Now, what I'm going to do next is I'm going to not bore you with cleaning the rest of these. But what you want to do, let me get a piece of white paper here. You see how in this part, how I did not get that very coated? Well, I do want to get that coated because especially if you're going to light this kit, you don't want the light coming through that part. So now I'm going to use a very small brush, and I'm going to go around. I need to get this part right here. I need to get that. And I'm going to try to keep it off the glass, but I'm, you know, and if I need to, like maybe I'll go and put a dot there. But I'm going to, the primary thing is to get these two lines, or on these other pieces, to get these center lines the way you want them, and then you go with a brush and you fill in the outside, and with as many coats as it takes, so that that now is not see-through. All right, I'm going to do probably several coats. I'm going to finish wiping off, do several coats, and I'll be back with these when I've got them pretty much finished. I want to add one thing about this technique, and that's that these parts are fairly delicate, and when you rub them, you want to rub them on a hard, flat surface. The reason is, one time I got the brilliant idea on this small part to hold it like this and rub it. Well, naturally, it snapped right in my fingers. Then I was faced with a broken part. But you can rub very hard if you leave them on a hard, flat surface. Just get in there and rub. So I wanted to point that out. I thought I'd include at the end of this a picture of the windows, the painted windows, taken with a macro lens that is about, I think it's about time for reference, the width of the large window is less than 3/8 of an inch. So you can see the fineness of the lines that you can achieve with this method. I also included the picture of my first pass of painting it. So you can see you really don't have to be as steady with the hand as at all. This allows us to give a very realistic interpretation of window, not a large plastic thing that's supposedly the cross things for the window. In fact, if you notice, the vertical line in the large window is thinner than the horizontal line, and that's just, if you look at the older type windows, they always had where the window's raised in the middle, and the lock typically was, that had was a little wider. So it's my philosophy that says, if you have a friend that sees your model and says, wow, did you paint that? You can go, yes, because you did. You can then just say, well, I've got a very steady hand. If he's not familiar with Grandpa's railroad and the way we do things, then he's going to be very impressed. You're probably not lying. You didn't say how steady a hand you had. And I look at it this way. It's less of a lie than the 2 inches you probably added to the fish that you caught last week. So have fun with it. Eventually tell him about our models, hopefully. And I hope you enjoy doing this kind of stuff.